Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and this is a fun project. This is called the Anvil quilt, and the Anvil block has been around for years, maybe hundreds, I don't know, a long time. Anyway, this is a new twist on it, and I can't wait to show you how to do it. All right, so to make this quilt, you're going to need one packet of 10-inch squares, a print, and we've used this beautiful Kaffe Fasset plus the original Morrison Company fabric for Free Spirit, and it's a gorgeous line. You're going to need some 10-inch background squares. We've used this Kona solid, and then you're going to need a little matching piece for this outer border. It's 1 yard to do this little tiny 2.5-inch border out here. Our backing is a beautiful 108, so you'll need 1.5 yards for that because this little quilt ends up measuring 52 by 52, and in a bit you're going to see why I made this little quilt. Anyway, our binding is also, it's going to be about 1 yard also for the binding around this, and we use this part of the line right here. So let me show you how to make this because it's fun and easy. So let me show you the block on this quilt. And it's a nice big block, and it goes from here to here. It's a 16 patch block, and we're going to make 2 of these blocks with our squares and 2 of these blocks. And so it's all just half square triangles and squares and super easy. So this is how we're going to cut our fabric. So you're going to choose a print square and a background square, and we're first going to do the easy 8. So we're going to draw our line diagonally both directions and then sew on both sides of that. Now I have already done that, and so what we're going to do now is we're going to cut this in half vertically and horizontally and then diagonally as well, and that's going to give us 8 half square triangles, and we're going to be sharing these half square triangles with more than one block. So we're going to just go ahead and make them. We're going to square them up, and we're going to just make a stack of them. Okay, so now we have to square these, and I'm going to use the Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer. We're going to need 4 for each block. So we're going to go ahead and square up 4 of these, and yes, you can go in and cut the little points off. I always forget to do that. But you're just going to do that like this. Go in and snip them off. It is very helpful when you're putting things together. So the next cut we're going to make here, we are going to need 2 4.5-inch squares and 2 4.5-inch half square triangles as well. And so I'm just going to cut this right in half right here, like this. And you can, depending upon how your brain works, you can cut this in half into 2 5s and cut them down to 4.5, which is fine, but we just need these squares, and so I measured them out at 4.5 so that I would be ready to go for you guys. And then I'm just going to trim this one up as well, like this and this. And then these 2 right here, I'm going to cut in half because we're just going to make half square triangles, and we're going to sew on both sides of this. So in this pattern, you actually get to learn how to make half square triangles 2 different ways. So we're going to come ahead and sew on both sides of this diagonal line. These are 5-inch squares that we put the diagonal line right down the center, and they will end up being 4.5-inch half square triangles. And then we'll have all the blocks we need to make our one big block. All right, so I'm going to cut these apart, and I'm going to cut right down the center of this seam right here, like this. And then we're going to square these as well. So all the blocks in this whole block are squared to 4.5, our square ones and our half square triangles. So here's our line lines up on their line. And when this goes together, I think you guys are going to be really tickled because it's just kind of fun how it all works. I love things that look much harder than they end up being. Alrighty. Now let me press these open and we will be ready to lay them out. All right, so we're going to keep this little pile in one pile. We're going to make little stacks to keep ourselves organized. And these go over here with these squares. These easy 8s we're going to keep together as well. And you can go ahead and cut a bunch of your fabrics so that you have, 2 piles going of these. And one more here. I have a little bit of fabric hanging on there. All right. All right, so once you get these cut, this makes the most effective use of your cutting of these 2, but you are going to need some more white squares. So we're going to grab a couple of more, and they're going to be 4.5 again. So I'm just going to cut 2 4.5-inch strips like this, 1 and 2, and we'll cut these down into 4.5, because you will need 4 of these for each block. And from our spiffy cutting, we only get 2, so we need a few more of these. I'm just going to make a pile. And of course, as you're going along and making all of these, you'll have big piles to choose from. Whoop, I veered right off there. Let me get lined up again. See, it happens to everyone. All right. And 2 more here. All righty. Okay, now let me show you how to put these blocks together. So with your Easy 8, you're going to choose 2 that go together like this. And so to me it looks like they're kissing each other. And then you're going to have your square blocks on the sides. And we are going to make 2 of these. So I'm going to stack these up like this and like this. And I liked to keep these matching. And then these 2 blocks right here. And so I'm going to slide these over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to sew these 2 and these 2 and leave my little thread connecting in between to make this block. So you need 2 of these for each of the big blocks. I believe they say units, 2 units. All right, so now this one. And then we'll do these last 2. And these as well. So again, you'll be with your Easy 8, you're going to be able to make these blocks for 2 of the big blocks. I hope that makes sense. All right, so now I'm going to open these up, make sure they're going the right way. So my little half square triangles are coming together nose to nose. And we are going to nest those middle seams so they go opposite directions. And this is actually one of the reasons why I like to do this before I press, so that I can make the seams go the way I want to without them fighting me. Alrighty, now we'll press these open and half of our block is done. Alrighty. Okay, so the next block is equally as easy and fun. You're going to grab your 2 squares like this, and you're going to grab these pieces, and we're going to make what looks like a big half square triangle. See that? Isn't that fun? And then we're going to do the same thing over here with this one. And we need to bring in an additional 4.5-inch square. So as you are cutting these, you'll have more pieces in. Let me make sure I got this. We're going to make 2 the same. So we're going to go here and here and here, and then out here I just put a different colored square so it had that really scrappy feel. So let's go ahead and cut 2 more here. Let's cut something with a little bit of contrast, and I'm just going to cut these at 4.5. Let me cut a 4.5-inch strip here. And then we'll come over here and cut 2 more squares. All right. So now we're going to put these out here like this. So we'll just kind of show them off a little bit. And I love how when these 3 come together, it looks like one big triangle. And so that's kind of the fun of the anvil block. All right, so let's sew these 2 together. And I'm just going to grab one of these, and we're going to sew these 2 together. And again, you can make a big pile of these and sew a bunch at a time. And then we're going to do the second one as well. All right, so we're going to cut these in half, and then we're going to open them up and make sure that we still, our half square triangles are still making that one big triangle, and they are. And we'll sew the second one as well. Alrighty, so let's press these open and we'll put the block together. Now you do want to make sure you have some contrast with these, because while we love the Scrappy, we like to be able to see the difference. All right, so now I'm going to put this way and this way. So these 2 half square triangles are kissing as they come in, and then these 2 you turn to the outside like this. All right, so our 4 big squares are in the center in a 4 patch, if you will, and these 2 blocks are going this way. That's how my brain works. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fold this one over here like that, and this one over here, and we're going to sew the 1/4 inch right down the side, and then we'll sew the big block together, and then we're going to look at how it fits into the quilt. Because this one block is so versatile, you guys. It's so much fun. All right, so let's go ahead and make sure these 2 half square triangles are coming together nose to nose, which is what we want. Make sure these seams line up and they're nesting. All right, so here's our block. Now we're going to press it. It does look like you worked a bit hard on this. All right, so let's take this back to the quilt and look at it. Now, when I started putting these together, I set them in here like this, and I set them exactly the same way. This and this. 3 rows of this big block make this quilt, and this quilt is 56 by 56. It's, you know, it's a great little picnic size, you know, great little baby quilt size. But the reason it's so small is because I began to play with these blocks, and I discovered if I turned this block when I put it together, a whole new pattern appeared. And so I actually made 3 little quilts. Natalie, if you'll come in and help me hold these up, I think you guys are going to find this really fun. This is a great what if block. So Natalie has one right here, and we're going to talk about this one. So this is this block right here. So let's look at it on here. So here's this block right here, and then it's just turned. And when it comes together, it makes this star. Is that not so cute? So wouldn't it be cute with a bunch of those? All right, Natalie, hold this one for me if you will. This is actually a secondary block to that one, but I thought it made a beautiful quilt in and of itself. And so this one goes this way, and this one turns this way. So all the colors are to the center, and it makes this square and a square with these cute little pointy things on the outside. So these little quilts actually measure 36 by 36. If you put them all together in one quilt, you're going to get a very large quilt. I'm not sure how large that is because I made 3 little ones. Anyway, I think they're beautiful. It's really fun. It's fun to have a block that has a lot of what ifs attached to it. Natalie, thanks for helping me. And we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Scrappy Anvil block from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. Hey everybody! Every week I give you a new idea, and we are almost 1 million quilters strong. So join us every Friday for a new tutorial, and if you haven't clicked or subscribed, make sure you do that today. See you on Friday.